This video is going to really help you to unravel whether you can actually afford to take action or not. So a lot of people know that they need to take action in regards to their health and fitness. They know that they need more than just a cheap PDF gym program. They know that they need more than just a PT session once or twice a week can provide. They know they need more help than that. All right, but on the forefront, on face value, they might not fully be aware of that at that moment. Sometimes you have to kind of learn from those mistakes that actually, if you're a man in your 40s, 50s, 60s with 3 stone or more to lose, the people that I work with, probably a 19, 20-year-old personal trainer isn't going to be the right fit for you. So I'm going to give you an example right now. This is real life. I'm not going to give the guy's name. The guy's an absolute legend and has gone on to achieve so much after working with me. But he gave me what he, at the time, thought was a reason. Later on, we obviously discovered that actually it wasn't, as to why he couldn't afford to do this, right? So at the end of the day, we have to look at all of the things that someone is spending their money on that is not conducive to their goal. So if you are a man in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 3 stone plus to lose, with the greatest of respect, there's going to be some reasons why that happened. And one of those reasons is going to be because you lost control over what you're eating when you're eating. You lost control over the movement that you've been making or not making. And sometimes we can say that this is just the hand that life has dealt us, or there's circumstances that have caused all of this, but ultimately control was lost. It's very easy to drop into other typical behaviors regarding your finances. So with this particular guy, he said, look, Alex, the program sounds absolutely fantastic. It's exactly what I need, but I quite frankly can't afford to do it. It's quite an embarrassing and sensitive subject to talk about. Of course it is, which is why I'm making this video. I said to this guy, I said, well, come on, look, let's just talk about your typical week. Let's see where we can kind of unravel some things and get you doing the things that are going to be conducive to your goal, where you're spending your money, it's actually going to help you. So I said, give us a typical rundown. You wake up in the morning and what's the routine? I'm going to try and skip through this to get to the reason why I'm holding this, right? There wasn't really any breakfast happening. I said, what are you doing for lunch then? And he goes, well, I'll just grab a meal deal from the supermarket on the way to work, or on the way to wherever he was going. I said, how much does that cost then? And here's where I'm going to write things down. First thing, meal deals. At the time, he said approximately £5. I said, okay, £5 a day. So we're basically then looking at that over 5 days, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 quid a week. And he was like, okay, yeah. I suppose when you put it like that, it is 25 quid a week. And I said, well, on that way to work then, or on the way to wherever you're going, is there anything else that you're doing? Anything else you're dropping off into a shop or whatever and buying? He goes, oh yeah, I have a Costa coffee every day. Now, just for mathematics' sake, we're going to round this up. I bought a Costa the other day and a Millionaire's shortcake. So let's just say, for argument's sake, he was spending another £5 a day on Costas. I then said, you having anything else snack-wise or vending machine stuff each day? It was, oh yeah, I have a chocky bar every day. I hoped that it was a Mars bar. So let's just say that that's £1 a day over 5 days is giving us another £5, right? Now here's the big bit, the energy drinks. Whilst I was on the phone to this guy on a Zoom call, he was drinking a particular can of energy drink. I said, just out of interest, how many of those are you kind of getting away every day? And he smiled. And I said, go on. I said, you're going to shock me. You're either going to tell me that it's just one or it's a lot. And I suppose my perception might have been 5 or 6. The guy said that he was drinking about 10 or more full-sized cans of energy drink per day. So I said, okay, well, let's just look at that at being, let's just say for argument's sake, £1 a can. That's obviously then £10 a day, which is obviously then £50 over the course of a week. No judgment whatsoever. It's just, I'm not using energy drinks as an example. This is a real true to life case. If it's not energy drinks and if it's not food or drink, where else is it that you're spending money that perhaps maybe could be invested better off elsewhere that's only going to get you to live longer? Now, the last thing was the guy was a single dad living with his 2 sons. And I said, do you have takeaways? And he went, yes, we do. I said, okay, so what are the typical takeaways you go for? And it could be anything from a Chinese to a pizza. And I said, so I know what I spend on a takeaway for me, my wife and my daughter, at the time was pretty young and didn't really eat very much. So what do you spend? 25 quid a go? And he laughed at me. He said, yeah, easily 25 quid. So just again, for math's sake, even though we could effectively round down what he's spending on the coffees, but round up what we're saying on the takeaways, at 25 quid, I said, so what is that? 1 a week or how frequently? He said, yeah, it's probably more like twice. So that obviously comes out at 50. So meal deals, 5 quid every day gives you 25 quid over the week. Costa, 5 quid a day-ish, gives you another 25 quid a week. We're now at 50. Chocky bars, £1 a day. We're now at 55 quid for the week. Energy drinks, 10 quid a day for this guy. Appreciate that might not be you. This is relatively unique. Another £50 a week, we're now looking at £105 a week. And then we look at the takeaways, 25 quid a go roughly, probably more, is another 50 quid. So we're looking at over £150 per week going out on stuff that is obviously not really conducive to his goal. So obviously we take that £150-ish per week, and over 2 weeks that's £300. Over 4 weeks you're looking at approximately £600. Now when you lay stuff out, you don't need to have a whiteboard, by the way. You can treat yourself to a normal pen and paper, right? But when you break stuff like that down and realize, I'm doing 150 quid a week on things that are not conducive to my goal, you work it out over 2 weeks, you work it over a month. I mean, would you like me to work this out over a whole year? We're looking at thousands of pounds every year, right? That, you know what, whether you want to invest that into a flipping coaching program, whether you want to go on a holiday rather than just living Groundhog Day every day, going into the supermarket for a meal deal, going into Costa for a coffee and just going through these motions, right? What about when we start actually taking a look at, I myself have a Netflix subscription, an Amazon Prime subscription, a Disney Plus subscription. I think we've got a couple of other bits as well. What if you have Sky as well? That's probably another grand every year right there. And what other apps have you got that you've got subscribed to that you don't even use? Where is it that you're spending money? If you know that you need to work with someone of a professional, elite, world-class standard to get you out of how you look, how you feel, how you operate right now, then on the face value, and I totally get it, most people, myself included, can just presume I don't have that kind of cash. I can't do that. And you know what? You may well even be watching this video going, no, actually, I am the most thrifty person on the planet and I do not waste any money anywhere at all. Then all credit to you. Fair play. Seriously. But where is it that there are opportunities for you to save some money? Just to put it out there, my coaching program isn't £600 a month. And also to put it out there, because I can already presume what people's comments are going to be, obviously, we still need to eat lunch. But do we actually need to spend £5 per day on one person's lunch? If this is also happening for the 2 kids and whatever else as well, this money here goes to another flipping level. If something is a real must for you, and this is, I only work with men in their 40s, 50s, 60s with 3 stone or more to lose that have a real must. This is essential that they not just lose fat because they want to look a bit better. Of course, that's a fantastic byproduct. I want to work with guys that actually want to change who they are on a positive level, right? They actually want to become someone that leaves behind a flipping legacy to their children, to their friends, to their family, to their colleagues, employees, acquaintances. I want to work with people that really want to see what life can be like. So if you are someone that really has a must, maybe for you it's that the doctor said, hey, look, you're now pre-diabetic and you probably don't want to spend the rest of your life injecting insulin into your body to survive. This isn't me suggesting anything, but we've had clients that have come to us because their children get bullied at school because of their dad's weight. As horrible as that sounds, and that shouldn't be happening, and I'm not condoning it at all, that was the reason this person's must was to get in touch and get that dealt with, right? I think a lot of us, we look at ourselves and think, oh, this is just who I am. It's just the card, the hand I've been dealt. And it's not. You have the ability to take control. You just need to address whether or not your actions right now are allowing you to take control. This is why people like myself exist, because we help you to take back control. You probably do not have accountability in your life. Maybe you had it whilst you were building your career or in the early stages of your relationship, but you probably don't have a lot of accountability, certainly when it comes to food and exercise. But on the other hand, if you are really wanting to change yourself, but you've got other comments, other emotions almost pulling you a different direction, it's not going to help. If you're still watching this video, you probably are still guessing. Actually, when you go to the gym, how many sets, how many reps, what weight should you lift, how intensive should it be, how many calories should you consume, how much water should you consume, is it okay to do this, is it okay to do that, what things in my life are actually serving me, what things aren't, who is it I'm spending my time with, where could I be spending time better, who can I spend time with now that could be available to me when I join a program like my own that can actually lift me and elevate me to another level. These are the things that you probably don't think of in your own mind, because you know what? If you're watching this, you're probably not a health and fitness professional. You're certainly probably not someone that's been doing this for nearly 30 years, that's got thousands of clients all over the world. And, I wrote a best-selling book called Realistic and Sustainable. These things are available to you. So Listen, nothing that I ever say is ever meant to be patronising. It's never meant to be condescending. This was a real life story. It's unfair for me to give the guy's name. Maybe if he watches this, he might even come out of the woodwork and tell everyone the truth. But at the end of the day, where is there on this list that you can relate to? Is it meal deals? Is it Costa? Is it takeaways? Where is it that you can relate to with apps on your phone that you don't use? That TV subscriptions. So it's not meant to be patronising. It's not meant to be condescending. It's not meant to be pointing the finger. It's just trying to get you to open your eyes. If you've ever got into contact with me about coaching and then the price has come up when you realised everything's perfect, everything's exactly what you want, and then, oh God, you've been hit with the price. Number one, the price is the price for a reason, because you're not going to get the same standard coaching as what we give to people anywhere on the globe for men specifically in the 40s, 50s, 60s that certainly want a realistic approach to this that's actually going to be sustainable and maintainable moving forwards. So yeah, if you're one of these people that's ever been in a conversation or ever started thinking about this going, oh God, I just don't have the money for that, just give yourself a little audit. And I'm sure there's loads of things online you can get about financial audits where you can just have a real good deep dive in terms of where you're spending your money. It doesn't mean you have to not have fun. It doesn't mean you can't spend money on the good stuff. It just means take your thriftiness to another level if there is something you would rather do with your money and something else you'd rather do with your life. I work with men in the 40s, 50s, 60s that have 3 stone or more to lose. That's about £40-ish or more to lose. If that's you, you need to get in touch. Seriously, get in touch, all right? My contact information is all over the place, all right? Send me an email, comment on this. Probably the best thing to do is jump into my Facebook profile, my Instagram, my TikTok, my LinkedIn. Anyway, all of the social media channels. Stick my name in there. Send us a message, at least get into a conversation and just find out a little bit more. So I'm hoping all of this helps. Anyway, it's been emotional. Peace out.